Today we're going to talk about how to make a clipping mask, and we're going to use fruit within everyday objects to create those clipping masks and to practice with it. So you can create a new document. Again, for your version of Photoshop, it may be up at the top, but you're going to hit create new, default Photoshop size. Yeah, horizontal is fine for this probably. Or if you want to change the orientation, this is how you do it. But just hit create and you'll have a blank canvas. I'm going to go ahead and put example here so you can't screenshot it. Okay, so now we're going to work on creating our clipping mask. So there's 3 options to play with this. You can do the mug with the orange, you can do the teapot orange example, or you can do the Sprite example. So in this video, I am going to show you how to do the orange mug. Okay, so we're going to create, this is actually 4 parts: the mug itself, the table, which is just a image of wood, this orange slice, and then the kitchen in the background. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I saved all these different images into the Google Classroom so you could use them and it would be easier for you. But I'm going to come down here. I think I called it tan mug. I don't remember. White mug, tan mug. I wonder if I saved it. Okay. I'm not sure if this file type will save over. Okay. Cancel. I think I took a screenshot of it is what I did. Okay. Well, if I don't have the mug, let me take a screenshot of one real quick. So I'm going to open, oops. And the reason I'm choosing tan is just so it's easier to find it. You choose white, sometimes has a hard time knowing where the mug is. So I'm going to choose this one, save image, mug, and it's a JPEG, which is perfect. Okay. So I'm going to take the tan mug and drag it onto here. You can see it has white background with it already, so we want to get rid of that. So we're going to convert to layers. Yes, and then hit quick action twice, remove background. Okay, so now it should be without background. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is pull over the orange. So I'm going to come down here. I think, oh, see if it says WEBP, that's a web page, and we can't use that. So we want to use one that's a JPEG, which I believe the ones I saved over are all JPEGs. Okay, so here's an orange. You can tell this one has a background on it too, so I can go to convert to layers. Yes, quick actions twice, remove background. Okay, and it's a little bit grainy. I can't remember if the one I saved over for y'all is better, but I think it is. Okay, and it just depends on how big the image is, if it's grainy or not. Okay, I am going to put my orange here and make sure it is larger than my mug. Because it's going to become the shape of the mug. Now what I want to do is hold my Alt key, and if you go between these 2 layers, you want the layers right next to each other, you should hold my Alt key. I'll show you a little square with an arrow, and that is what I want to see. And it means make this orange become a part of this mug. So that is what we're going to do when we create the clipping mask, and now I have a mug that is an orange. Okay, and again, it'd look better if it was a little less grainy. Now I'm going to take a slice of orange and make it the top part. So I'm going to drag the slice in, let go. And again, you can click back into it, convert to layers, and remove background. So now I have a slice of orange I can play with. What I'm going to do is press Command T, and then I can manipulate it. So I want it to be at least about as wide as the orange is. And then if I hold Shift, I can like squeeze it down also. Okay, so it should start to look kind of like a sideways orange that's within the cup. The other thing you can do if you want to is you can always, if you're on Command T, you can right click and choose Warp, and Warp will let you kind of manipulate it also. So you can either hold Shift and make it squishier, or choose Warp and warp it to a certain shape. Okay, so now we have a pretty good looking mug. It doesn't quite look like a regular mug though, because you see how flat it looks here. So I am going to create a new layer and then add some shading. So this little plus sign will help you create a brand new layer that you can work in. I'm going to come over to my brush, do brush tool, and then make sure I had it on a special effect. Make sure you go to general brushes, and it's just a soft brush is fine. And I'm going to choose something that's like a medium size. So kind of you can hover over and see what size it'll be. Now I want this to create shadows for me, so I'm going to make sure my color swap is on a dark color, but not, I don't want it to be like black, right? Because that would be too dark. So you can go up here to opaquency and move it way down so it's somewhat see-through. Okay, so then I can draw on my mug and it will create kind of a shadow look. Normally when you have a rounded object, there's shadows toward the edge, probably shadows at the bottom, definitely shadows in here where the handle meets the mug. So, and the more times I go over it with the shadow, the darker it's going to get. Okay, I'm also going to put a little bit of shading just right in here around the edge. Okay, now it looks more like a mug, which is what I want to see. Okay, I'm going to go back to my move tool like I do whenever I'm switching what I'm doing. I'm going to go into the kitchen, drag it into here. Oh, I forgot that that one is a web page. So I did save a screenshotted version over for you guys. I'm going to move the kitchen to the bottom. I am going to click on my kitchen layer here and then Command T just to make sure it covers the whole background. Okay. Now one thing I do want to do when I am, you can click Command T again, don't click Command T. Go up here to Filter and Blur, and I'm going to use a Gaussian blur. I think that's how you say it, but I basically want the background to be more blurry than it is, so it looks like it's kind of in the background. So you can play with the numbers, but somewhere around 10, 9, 10 should make the background still recognizable, but also blurry, and I hit OK. Now it looks like my mug is floating, so let's add the table in. If I come back to my images, I should have some wood here. And this is just an image of flat shaped wood. So I'm going to make sure it's wide enough. Again, I can press Shift and alter these without keeping it proportional. So that's what I'm going to do. I want my table to be about right here. Now it still looks kind of awkward because it's just going straight back, which makes it look fake. So what I'm going to do is Command T, and then right click and choose perspective. So if you've taken art class, perspective is where things appear to look smaller as they go back in the distance. So what you want to do is stretch the bottom out so it looks wider, and then the table will look like it is going back in the distance, which is what it looks like in real life. Okay, so a couple more things just to round out this project. Let's go ahead and drag an orange slice over. Again, same problem, the background is white. So click on that layer, convert to layers. Yes, but you're converting this to two different layers, the orange and then the background. Click quick action twice, remove background, and we'll just put this orange slice here. Okay, now it still looks a little bit like everything is floating, so I'm going to go back into my brush tool. And something cool that you can do with your brush tool is, your brush tool is a circle right now, but it doesn't have to be. You can flatten it so it's more of an oval. And then choose, it's probably way too big, choose something in here that will look more like the bottom of a mug. So I'm going to add my shadow. You can do it in a new layer like this, or you could add it to the wood table, either way. And if you're adding it to the wood table, then it will not get on your mug, which is nice. So I'm going to click and drag a couple different times till I add the shadow. I may want to make it a tiny bit smaller. Yep. And then move my opaquency up just a tiny bit so it's a little bit darker. So I have a shadow directly underneath also. So again, the more times you click, the darker it'll get, and then it will really look like a shadow. Okay, and if you want to add a shadow that's behind the orange, you can do that. I'm going to go back to a circle, something small. not that small. Okay, and then I can go to my mug layer and I can add, oh, it may have to be on the orange layer. I can add a little bit of shadow that's behind this orange too, so it looks like it's on there. And you are done. Okay, you're gonna go to File. The first time I would choose Save As, save to the cloud, so it's in Photoshop in case you want to edit it anymore. The second time, save to your computer. If you choose Save a Copy, it will give you all the format options. You can choose JPEG, PDF, or PNG to turn it into Google Classroom. Okay, and make sure the location is somewhere where you can find it. Downloads or desktop works well. Thanks, guys.